Maybe about a third of you, a quarter of you. Everybody hear of the novel? Okay, all right. So you have a little bit of knowledge about it. So, oh, and I heard someone say what they thought it was. We're going to go around. We're going to talk about it. You're going to tell me what you think of it, and we'll talk about, some of the sort of teachable moments. What's good about the book? What maybe is not so accurate about the book, and that kind of stuff. So, but I'll leave you open up, how you want to discuss it, and then I'll chime in. Did any of our men in the audience read the novel?
Don't be afraid.
I saw a lot of females with their hands raised. Okay. How would you describe the book? Someone over here said something. Okay. Okay. You two are. Did you read all? Here. You read all? Someone said porn. Why would you say it's
classy?
Classy porn? Okay. Why is that?
I don't know, my mom's told me.
What does it discuss in the book? Anybody know what the main topic is that they're trying to cover in the story? Yeah, you said BDSM. So when we talk about BDSM, it's 4 letters, stands for 6 different things, and we'll talk about that. But that's a lifestyle that people engage in, and it's a lifestyle that's not really understood by a lot of people, because people who engage in that type of lifestyle are very secretive about it, because it's diverse and it's not always accepted in mainstream society. So they're quiet about it because they fear that they'll be judged in a negative way. So I think one of the good, I'll talk throughout us talking the good parts and the bad parts about the book. I think one of the good parts about the book is it brings about a discussion on, hey, what is BDSM? Is it a healthy form of sexual expression? And how can I do this in a safe manner? So that's one really good part about the book. Who knows what BDSM stands for? Okay, Kyle, tell me. Okay, and what did you say after bondage? Oh, okay. So we could do, and then we'll get to new people. So we'll do the SM. What's that? Wait, what's the number? Oh, maybe we should. Kyle, Jake has something. Whoa.
Wait, no,
Because you engaged in this. Good job. Okay, let's talk. What does BD stand for? Bondage and discipline. Okay, so tying someone, whether it's with a rope, a tie, a silk scarf, a chain. So bondage and discipline, then you're doing what the other person tells you. Okay, or discipline. Discipline could be maybe it could be spanking. It could be confining someone to a certain area. So it could be more of a physical discipline. It could also be a mental discipline too. Okay, saying something verbally to the person. Okay, so BD, then there's DS. What's the D and the S? Domination and submission. Right, so you have a dominant person and a submissive person. And they'll usually choose who's going to be the dom and who's going to be the sub. Okay? In true BDSM, the submissive person is the one that sets the scene. In a BDSM relationship, it's simulated. It's not real. So they'll set the scene what they want to do, and it's usually the submissive partner. So it's these carefully controlled scripts between the people to try to determine what they want to act out. Okay. And then the submissive partner is submissive to the dominant person. And then SM, what is that? Someone said it. What's the SM?
What I said?
Sadomasochism. Yeah, so that's inflicting pain on yourself or inflicting pain on others for sexual arousal. So sadistic is when you inflict pain on someone else, okay, whether that pain is physical or emotional. Okay, masochism is inflicting pain on yourself. I always think of it, masochism begins with an M and B with an M, so pain on me, okay? So that's how I try to remember it. So BDSM is 6 different things. You could just be playing out one part, the bondage and discipline, or you could be playing out all 6 parts, all right? It depends on the person that you're with and the role playing that you want to happen, okay? So the main gist of the story discusses BDSM behavior. It discusses it sometimes in a good way and sometimes in not such a good way. Tell me a little bit about the characters. Who are the main characters in the book? And let's try to figure out how Christian, right? He was, and Anastasia. So they were the 2 main characters. And what was sort of the storyline between Christian and Anna?
Anastasia met Christian because her friend was sick and she was going to interview him.
Yes.
And then because she looks like his past submissive,
Yes.
he wanted her to be his submissive. And then they just ended up falling in love or whatever.
Okay.
And at first he tries to fight it, and then he can't control it anymore.
Okay, so Christian was engaged in the lifestyle for quite some time. And he met Anna. She was going to, I think, interview him for an article. And he was just sort of smitten by her. And wanted her to enter that lifestyle. So what were some things that attracted you to the book, that happened in the book? Anybody? Those of you who read the book, what attracted you? What sort of made you interested in reading the book?
To be honest, I thought it was about vampires.
Well, you know, the person who wrote the book, she modeled it after the Twilight series. So I could see why you thought that, why you thought it would be about vampires. Yeah. But it still kept your attention.
Yes, it did. Yes.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking was, I guess the topic was very taboo, and it became like a big topic of discussion in society. And so I was kind of like, well, what's this about? I should read it. And it's kind of that book, so I read all of it.
So, like Kendall said, it was sort of like a taboo topic, and it became this overnight sensation. So, you know, what's all the hype about it? And I think, you know, another one of the positive things is it brings about a discussion. Yeah. And another positive thing that I like about the book is Christian and Anna talk a lot. They have a lot of discussion, which I think is important in a sexual relationship. They talk before sex about having sex, they talk during sex about having sex, and they talk after sex about having sex. So that they try to understand the level that each person's on. A lot of times in a sexual relationship, it relies on more what instead of talking? More touch, right? Rather than verbal. But in the book, they did lots of talking. So that was a positive part about the book. On the reverse side, something that isn't as accurate about the book is Christians seem to live that lifestyle 24/7. In real life, people who engage in a BDSM relationship or lifestyle, they can't leave that 24/7. Our lives aren't set up that way because why? We have to go to work and we have homework to do and you have to go to class and you have to do your laundry, right? And you need your everyday activities. So you can't be, chained in a cage or submissive to someone 24/7. Our lifestyles don't fit that. So the book gave the illusion that you have this, this year-round lifestyle, where really it's only a small part of someone's everyday life. So that was one other sort of thing that we need to think about if that lifestyle lifestyle interests you in reading more about it. What else went on with the characters that we could talk about? Yeah.
Was Christian involved, like, as a child? Was that, a lady?
Oh, yeah. What do they call her? Mrs. Robinson, right?
Elena.
Yes, Elena. Yes. So you had mentioned Christian was involved with Elena as a child, and they alluded to the fact that he was sexually abused by her because he was underage. And I'm glad you brought that up because I think another downfall of the book is it does kind of like shamming against people who are in the BDSM lifestyle, that if you choose this type of alternative sexual behavior to engage in, there must have been something wrong with you as a child. He had a lot of horrible things happen to him as a child.
He was adopted, I believe, and his mother was on
His mom was a crack whore, and someone would put out cigarettes on his body. Remember, he had all that scar, and Anna couldn't even touch certain parts of him. He like crayoned himself off, so she couldn't touch him. So I think that the book also alludes to the fact that if you engage in this behavior, there's something mentally wrong with you. Where we look at BDSM as a continuum, the lifestyle, and it can be very mild or it could be very extreme. Just like anything we do in life could be very mild or could be very extreme. The American Psychological Association that sets up diagnoses, there is no medical diagnosis for BDSM behavior because they don't see it as disorder, okay? Remember, it's consensual between two adults. There's no children involved, and you're giving consent. One of the things in the BDSM lifestyle, you might see, you know the yin and the yang, the circle with the yin and the yang? So it's almost like a circle with yin, yang, and another one. It's like 3 spots instead of 2 sides, there's 3. And if you see that symbol, that's a BDSM sign, and it stands for safe, sane, and consensual. I don't think do they mention that in the book? I don't think they do. So if you see that, the people who engage in the lifestyle, they want to be safe, they want to be sane, and they want consent. Okay, so a downfall of the book is they alluded that there was something mentally wrong with you that would lead you into that lifestyle. So I'm glad you mentioned that. What else? What else interested you in the book? Because it'll help me try to remember some good parts and bad parts to it. What do you think? What were some scenes that interested you, that made you want to read more?
The love connection between Nancy and
Okay.
you know, how it didn't start out as that, it was just kind of like an initial sexual attraction, but then it's like led up to be more than that. And then how he kind of met her needs as well as his. You know, she was all about this and being, she really, took her a lot because anything with him.
I think there were some really good positive parts about their love connection. First was, I think they spoke a lot about protection, more so than what we see on any regular show on TV. By protection, they spoke about sexually transmitted infections, and that was covered a lot in the book. And what else? Pregnancy was covered a lot in the book. And he always opened a foil packet, I think is how he said it. He was always putting a condom on. But we don't always see that when we read everyday books or when we watch things on TV where you have that discussion with each other about the risk of transmitting an infection or the risk of pregnancy. And you saw that discussion many times throughout the book. So I thought that was a positive thing. Yeah. And then what else? Oh, you said their love connection. Yeah, the other thing that I thought was very positive about the book was he tried to please her. So it's very interesting in that there was a lot in the book about female sexual pleasure, where usually, I think someone mentioned porn. Sometimes in porn, a lot of porn is developed for men to get sexually aroused, where in this book, he really concentrated on her and different ways to try to sexually please her. He was always doing something different, sort of surprising her, discussing it with her, that type of thing. And I thought that that was interesting, and that it leads to a discussion about the importance of female sexual pleasure, and that historically females were only supposed to have sex for procreation, not recreation. So it brings that whole recreation conversation into play. And, you know, historically, what would you call a female who wants to be pleasured sexually all the time? What would you call her? Yeah, we're hearing lots of words. Whore, slut. That doesn't have to be. Females can enjoy sex also. And they really brought that discussion into the book. I thought they played that very well. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Those two things. What else about the book? What else can you go? Oh, two of you? Okay, go ahead. Back here in the book.
Things as like submissive, how they kind of like cast you away, kind of the topic, and like after he had a relationship after the time, because I think the time limit on like 3 months.
Yes.
After it was done, he kind of just like stopped talking to us.
Yeah, and okay, so the part about that, he had other submissives in his life, and then he never felt a strong attachment to them, and he would sort of cast them away. Yeah, like a used solo cup, right? Like sort of throw them away. And I think that's another negative part of the lifestyle, where we equate a submissive partner as a doormat or a sexual slave. And in BDSM lifestyle, we don't look at a submissive partner as a doormat. They're actually considered even stronger than the dominant partner because it's an exchange of power. The submissive partner is saying, I'm giving you the power to do this to me. So I'm glad you mentioned that, where it alluded to the fact that he was treating them like doormats. And in a real relationship, that shouldn't happen. I mean, you know, not everyone plays safe, right? Just like when you play a game of Monopoly, some people cheat, right? So I think in any lifestyle, you're going to have good people and bad people. So if it's something that you decide you want to engage in, you know, you need to read all you can about it, and you need to be prepared, and you need to be with someone that you trust. You can't just, you know, go to Craigslist and find someone. You need to be safe. And you know, the book was not written as a how-to guide or a BDSM 101 or BDSM for Dummies book. It wasn't written that way. It wasn't written as a book to educate you on the lifestyle. It was just written as a novel. And I think a lot of people complain about the book that it's not accurate, but it wasn't written to really teach you in that sense. It was just written as a story. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. What else? Oh, okay. What do they call, Jade said the sex room. What did they call that room?
The red room.
Oh, the red room. Okay. I was thinking of The Shining. It was the red room. All right. So they talked about his red room, and that was sort of his fantasy room. Yeah, like a sex sanctuary. In the true BDSM lifestyle, like I said, you have to be safe when you meet people. Usually people will go to something, and this was not discussed in the book, they'll go to something that's called a munch, M-U-N-C-H, and that's meeting people in a non-threatening public environment, like going to Panera Bread, setting up an occasion where everyone goes to Panera Bread, and you're meeting people who are interested in the same lifestyle as you, and maybe getting to know someone, trust them, and have a potential play partner. But it's not something that happens overnight. I know a lot of munches are set up as educational munches, where you will go there, you'll meet people, and you'll sign in. Sometimes you'll sign, there'll be name tags, and you could sign your name on a blue tag if you decide you're a top or a dominant, or a red tag if you identify as a submissive, or switch, meaning sometimes you're dominant, sometimes you're submissive. So by signing your name on a certain color and putting that sticker on you, you're already telling certain people what your interest is. So if you're a dominant, and like maybe if I'm a dominant and someone else is a dominant, we wouldn't be able to probably exchange play together, because usually a dominant partner is looking for a submissive partner. Okay? But that's usually how that works. BDSM club over here. It's very quiet. Okay, nobody knows. Nobody knows, okay? And then you get to talk with people and meeting them and go to more educational sessions. And then what they do, what you were mentioning about the Red Room, is they'll set up events, and they call them dungeons. And you'll go to the event, and there's scenes, all right? There's different scenes. Most people at the events just go to watch and learn, okay? Some people participate in the scenes, and there'll be different scenes going on, and the dominant and the submissive partner, or three people, will act out a scene that they set beforehand, okay? And the scenes could range from anything, tying someone down and flogging them, to humiliation, maybe, putting a collar and leash on them and treating them like an animal, whatever they decide they want to engage in, okay? So that's how that works in the real lifestyle, but the book I don't think ever mentioned munches, or the only thing it alluded to a dungeon was Christian's Red Room. Yeah, his own private room. Yeah. Good. What else about the book? Yeah.
I think it's something that comes in almost any erotic novel. I'm reading another series that's very similar to it. It's the Fire series. And it's almost like the exact same story, just different. But it's, I guess, the part of the pleasure side of it all. In real life, that doesn't always occur the way it happens in films. Like, not everybody gets on all the time.
Oh, exactly, right. If we think all the books that we read we can play out or act out in real life, gosh, we're setting ourselves up for disaster. Same thing if you watch a Disney fairy tale, right? I mean, I like to look at things through rose-colored glasses too, but I would be setting myself up for disaster. Same thing when you watch porn, okay? It's fantasy. You're setting yourself up for disaster if you then go out and think, okay, I'm going to play it out like this, or somebody's going to have this perfect body or this perfect look or this size, whatever. It just doesn't, that's not reality, okay? There's a lot of different things that go on in the media. Yeah, so good, I'm glad you mentioned that. What else about the book? Anybody else? Anything that made you think, or that you want to discuss about the book?
I think it's a psychological side of it all. Like, to understand the first book is not really like the box material.
Yeah.
And that's the third book kind of catches up with all the psychological sides of Christian. I think you have to read all three of them to really truly understand the story. I've had a friend who was like, yeah, I read the first book. I'm like, well, then we get a huge judgment on it. And
Yeah.
the whole psychological side and the flavor and all that stuff. You really have to read the other two to understand what his issues are, how he's being hurt. It really is all three of the books you have to read to understand.
Yeah. Anybody read all three of them? Okay. Did you feel that way? That it really, each book talked a little bit more about psychologically? Yeah, she's been doing great. Yeah. Did you have your hand raised? Oh, okay. Okay. Another thing that I liked about it, a positive thing about the book was the whole safe word thing. Remember that? And that really has us in the lifestyle. And what the safe word was, I think in the book they had yellow and red. And yellow was, hey, you're getting close to crossing the line. I might not be able to take this anymore. And red was stop immediately. Even though I already gave consent and we set the scene, you need to stop because things aren't going right and I can't take this anymore. And then the person is supposed to stop immediately. Kind of like the idea of a safe word. It's sort of saying that consent can change at any time. And in a real relationship, consent can change at any time. If someone says yes to sex and then all of a sudden changes their mind and says no, they have the right to do that. Consent can change and be renegotiated at any time, and that book really spoke in detail about that. So I thought that was a positive part of the book that maybe, could be used in lifestyles that aren't even the BDSM lifestyle. What else? What if you wanted to learn more about it? We said that probably to read, right? Anybody know which books are? I wrote a few down that we can talk about. There's one called The Story of O, and that's a very well done a book on BDSM. The author is R-E-A-G-E. Okay, it's the author's last name. So The Story of O. The other one is Through the Roses, Send Me the Thorns. Okay, that's another good one on understanding what is the BDSM lifestyle. Okay, and then a third one would be SM 101. Okay, and that's sort of like a beginner's guide to sadism and masochism, and that's written by Jay Wiseman. He's actually an attorney, and he wrote that. He represents cases that may have gone wrong. People who have done extreme play in the BDSM lifestyle that went wrong. He represents those cases. So the story of O is more like a story. The other two are more informational how-to guides. Yes, Through the Roses and SM 101. Yes.
In terms of consent, like in the book, he had us put a little like document.
He had like a contract.
Yeah, is that how it works?
It can. Sometimes you can set up a contract. Sometimes it's very careful face-to-face negotiation. And sometimes it can just be verbal. Sometimes it's written. But at any time, you can change the contract. You can say whatever your safe word is. And usually the safe word will be something that has nothing to do with what's going on. It could be red. It could be, I don't know, popcorn. Like something that has nothing to do with the room that you're in. And if you're gagged, then you can't say a safe word, then it would be sort of a hand motion. So the person who's with you has to really be focusing on you so that if you've had enough as a submissive, then they need to understand, that you're using your safe word, whatever that may be. But yes, they've had contracts in the book. You're right. Anybody else? Anybody want to read the books now? What's that? Oh, I don't know when the movie comes out. Anybody want to watch the movie? Okay. Lots of people want to watch the All right, so you can read the story for fun. It's neat. Do critical thinking, right? Is it a value? Is it a factual? Is it something factual? So you're all in college. Use your critical thinking skills. Hey, is this accurate? And then we know it's not. It's a story. It was written as a story. Okay? And then if you want to actually learn about the lifestyle, and safety is a big thing. Safety and consent. Then you can refer to some of the other books that I gave you. Okay? All right. Then I guess it's a wrap.